Hello, everybody. Dragonfire here, and I'm coming at you with another one of my top 10 albums of the year. Top 10 albums of the year from Dragonfire. It's been a while since I've worn this alternate mask, but I'm back for 1977. It's going to be the top 10 albums of 1977. Okay, I'm going to kick things off with a few honorable mentions here. I got an honorable mention for the Alice Cooper album, uh, Whiskey and Lace, or sorry, Lace and Whiskey. Lace and Whiskey by Alice Cooper from 1977. Alice Cooper also did a live album that year, and I don't include live albums in my countdowns, but I do give them honorable mentions. So here's Alice Cooper, The Alice Cooper Show. The Alice Cooper Show by Alice Cooper, live album. And of course, if we're going to talk about live albums, how about Alive 2 by Kiss? Live 2 by Kiss. All right. Um, few honorable mentions there. All right. I got to tell you, I do love some albums from the 70s, don't get me wrong. But I'm finding that the further back I go in the 70s, the less I'm uh, I have less albums that I'm super interested in. I might some at some point have to turn this into a top five instead of a top 10, because I could probably find five really good albums from each year, but 10, I'm kind of stretching it a little bit more. But these are all albums that I do appreciate. So if you've been following, first I did the 80s, and then sometimes I've been going backwards into the 70s and sometimes forward into the 90s. So I believe I've done 90, 91, and 92. Now I've done 79, 78, and this is my 77 video. If you go to the playlist, they should be in order by year though. But anyway, I'm doing this 77 video. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Give me one of those hype thingies, that give me those extra points. Whatever you can do to help spread the word about this channel, I do appreciate it. Okay, so my number 10 for 1977 is going to be from Pink Floyd, and it's going to be Animals. Animals by Pink Floyd. I've got this black frame edition that came in a box set with a bunch of other Pink Floyd albums, but nevertheless, this is their 1977 album on CD. Of course, it wouldn't have been on CD back in 77 because CDs weren't even invented then. But this is Animals by Pink Floyd. They had a four album run, I believe. Does it start with Dark Side of the Moon? I believe it starts with Dark Side of the Moon and then Animals, Wish You Were Here, in The Wall. A fantastic four album run for Pink Floyd. And I'm going to take that as my number 10. For my number 9, I'm going with Triumph and Rock and Roll Machine. Check out the title track on this one, Rock and Roll Machine. But yeah, Triumph, great band. And I'm going with Kiss, Love Gun. Love Gun, their studio album that came out in 77. And I would check out the title track, Love Gun, on this one. Pretty good album. So that's my number 8. Triumph with Rock and Roll Machine was my number 9. I said Animals from Pink Floyd was my number 10. Okay, I'm gonna cheat a little bit on my number 7 here. I'm doing both, just like I did in my 91 edition, I did both Guns N' Roses albums. Well, for my 77 edition, I'm doing both Cheap Trick albums. The original Cheap Trick self-titled album, Cheap Trick 1, whatever you want to call it, from 1977. They did put out a second self-titled album in 1997, so you could call this one Cheap Trick 1 and that one Cheap Trick 2, or however you want to reckon it. But they actually put out two albums in 77. It wasn't entirely uncommon back in the 70s for bands to put out two albums in the same calendar year. So this is the second album from Cheap Trick called In Color. Um, yeah, back in the 60s and 70s, bands would sometimes put out more than one album in the same calendar year, but once you get to the 80s, that almost never happens. Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion 1 and Use Your Illusion 2 from 1991 would be like an exception to the rule of, of an album that came out 80s or later. That one, of course, came out in the 90s, but two albums by the same band, it's pretty rare from in the 80s onward, but back in the 70s it did happen. So two albums here to check out from Cheap Trick if you don't know. And what did I say? This is my number seven. Yes, my number seven. Now, my number six is going to be uh, Queens of Noise by the Runaways. This band, if you're not familiar with them, they had Lita Ford and Joan Jett were both in this band before they went solo. And this is an all-female band from, I believe they got together in the Los Angeles, like Hollywood, Los Angeles area of California. Check out the title track, Queens of Noise, really great song from the band, The Runaways, and a great album. That's my number six. Um, yeah, one, two, three, or 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Okay, for my number five, I am going, or yeah, it's going to be, yeah, my number five, I am going with an album I don't have a physical copy of, but wish I did. But I'm going with Spinal Tap and the album right here, Rock and Roll Creation. Rock and Roll Creation by Spinal Tap. Wish I had an actual physical copy of Rock and Roll Creation by Spinal Tap. But check out the title track, Rock and Roll Creation. Great song. So that will be my number five is Rock and Roll Creation by Spinal Tap. And then for my number four, I'm going with Ted Nugent and Cat Scratch Fever. This is my vinyl of Ted Nugent's Cat Scratch Fever. I was looking around, I couldn't find my CD copy. I think I might have this one on cassette tape as well, but this is my vinyl. I know I have a CD copy somewhere, but I couldn't find it. Um, here's the back cover. Um, yep, the back cover for Cat Scratch Fever by Wildman Ted Nugent. Okay, so that kicked off my Mount Rushmore. That was my number four. So we'll give you the rest of my Mount Rushmore here with starting with my bronze medal for 1977. I'm going with AC/DC. Yeah, Let There Be Rock. Um, what a great album here from AC/DC. Check out the song A Whole Lot of Rosie. A whole lot of Rosie. It's a song that really uh, Guns N' Roses has done a whole lot of Rosie live in concert. That's one they like to cover from AC/DC. And I think my number two here is going to be um, Foreigner. Ooh, you know what? Is this going to be number two? It's tough. I'm looking at this track listing. This may have to be my number one. This may have to be my number two. I'm going to go with the debut album from George Thorogood and the Destroyers at number two, and the debut album from Foreigner at number one. Fantastic stuff here. Um, for the debut album for George Thorogood and the Destroyers, you got Madison Blues, One Bourbon, One Scotch, and One Beer, Right On Josephine, Delaware Slide. This is a great album. But the debut album from Foreigner, the self-titled Foreigner album, might be even better. It's got feels like the first time, Cold as Ice, Star Rider, Head Knocker, Woman Oh Woman, Fool for You Anyway. Yeah. Ugh. Both albums have 10 songs. I'll let you look at the track listing. Which one do you think is the better album? Is it the self-titled George Thorogood and the Destroyers? I think that when this was originally released, it was actually released under the name George Thorogood and the Delaware Destroyers, but they wanted to have more universal appeal. So, like in the second pressing, I believe it was just George Thorogood and the Destroyers. But there's the track listing for that, and here's the track listing for the self-titled Foreigner album. So, Foreigner One is a great album. Anyway, definitely my two favorite albums of 1977. Have a hard time picking which is number one and which is number two. What do you think? Who gets the gold medal and who gets the silver medal between Foreigner and George Thorogood? Anyway, those are my top 10 albums of 1977. Please leave me your list in the comments below. Dragonfire out.